Telugu Pradhana Manasakshi, Sakshi TV. I am Bhargavi. Spiritual Awakening Show ki Swagatam Suswagatam. Today, we are back with our philanthropist, Sanjay Kumar Singhania Garu, most commonly known as Saravajay Madhav Prabhu Garu. He is the CEO of Tanmay Group of Companies and Tanmay Jewelries. Let's welcome Saravajay Madhav Prabhu Garu. Hello Prabhu Garu. Hare Krishna. Welcome to our show.
Hare Krishna, Bhargavi Garu, bagunara?
Bagunandi. Meer bagunara?
I'm fine, thank you so much.
So today's topic is we are never separate from God or Lord Krishna.
Amazing topic, huh?
Yes.
Yeah. So before we jump to the topic, I'm going to start with the nectar of the holy name, and we'll read why always chanting the Mahamantra will get Krishna's protection from sinful reactions. So we'll read about that. But before we go there, let's start with the prayers. As usual, so this prayers is not just for me, but it's for everybody who's listening to the show, watching the show. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to serve you all. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Abudale Shumate Javatak Samiti Namne Namo Acharya Padaya Nitya Kripapadaya Gauragata Damadaya Nagar Gamatarne Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Padaya Abudale Shumate Bhakti Vedanta Samiti Namne Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Paschatashitarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukham Karoti Vachalam Pangun Langayate Grim Yat Kripat Muhammande Shri Gurudinitarinam Paramananda Madham Shri Chaitanyeshwaram Hari Om Tatsat. By always chanting the Mahamantra, we'll get Krishna's protection from sinful reactions. This is very important to understand, that we get protection from our sinful reactions. So we discussed this many times. A lot of people say, oh no, I'm not a sinful guy. I'm a perfect guy. I don't harm anybody. I'm not done any sin. I'm a gentleman. So I don't even have to worship Krishna, because Krishna will take care of me because I'm a gentleman, or I'm a great woman. So let's understand what is sin and can we really avoid sin, okay? One cannot commit sinful activities and at the same time advance in Krishna consciousness. So we cannot just keep on doing sins and expect us to advance in Krishna consciousness. So if you are spiritually inclined, somewhere you have to minimize your sinful activities. But Krishna says, Aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshasyami. Bhagavad Gita 18.66. Surrender unto me, and I shall rescue you by giving you liberation from all kinds of sinful reactions. This is Krishna's statement. This statement is given none other than Krishna himself. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is telling, if you just surrender to me, chant my holy names, I will give you liberation from all your sinful reactions. Every one of us, life after life, is knowingly or unknowingly committing sinful activities. I may knowingly kill an animal, and it is certainly sinful. But even if I do it unknowingly, it is also sinful. Does it make sense?
Yes.
Whether you kill knowingly or unknowingly, sin is sin, right?
Yes.
So, while walking on the street, we unknowingly kill so many ants, correct?
Yes, we do.
And in the course of our other ordinary dealings, while cooking, while taking water, while using a mortar and pestle to crush spices, we kill so many living beings. Unless we remain Krishna consciousness, we are liable to be punished for all these unknowingly committed sinful acts. So it is very, very important. We think that we are not doing any sin, we think we are fine, but according to this statement, even unknowingly we are doing so many killing, we are punished. We will be punished for that. If a child unknowingly touches fire, does it mean that the fire will excuse the child and not burn? No. Nature's law is so strict, so stringent, that there is no question of an excuse. Even in ordinary law, ignorance is no excuse. Correct?
True.
If we go to court and say, I did not know that this action was criminal, this plea does not mean that we shall be excused. Similarly, ignorance is no excuse for transgressing nature's law. So nature's laws, we cannot transgress. If we do sin, we will have to pay for the sin, period. Knowingly or unknowingly. Whether you kill an ant or you kill a human being, in the law of nature, it is considered same killing. This is killing only. You're killing, right? Therefore, Jesus Christ also said, thou shalt not kill. And people interpreted, thou shalt not kill human being. Jesus Christ could have easily specified that, right? Thou shalt not kill human beings. But he said, thou shalt not kill. Means one should not kill, period. Therefore, if we actually want to be free from reactions of sinful life, we must be Krishna conscious. For then, Krishna will free us from all sinful reactions. It is therefore recommended, Kirtaniya Sada Hari. One should always chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So that will save us. So this is from the teachings of Kunti Devi. So you can read everything what we just discussed in that book, Teachings of Kunti Devi. It is very, very, very important to understand that we cannot avoid sin. Knowingly and unknowingly, we will keep doing sins. And the only way to escape sin is by surrendering to the Lord. He is the only one who can relieve us from all the sinful reaction and give us liberation. And we should not worry. If you surrender, your process of removing all the sin is already started. So now let's jump to the passage for discussion. Today, the topic is we are never separate from God or Lord Krishna. So let's see what Krishna is saying about this. Yaj gyatva na punar moham evam yasyasi pandava yena bhutani asesani takshasi atmani atomai. Translation: and when you have thus learned the truth, you will know that all living beings are but part of me, and they are in me and are mine. What a powerful statement here. Try to understand this statement. Who can give such kind of statement other than Lord himself, the Supreme Personality of God himself? Nobody can give this statement what we are just reading. And when you have thus learned the truth, so once somebody understands the truth, you will know that all living beings are but part of me, and that they are in me and are mine. So that means we are part of Krishna, we are in Krishna. So this is a strong statement given by Krishna himself. Who can tell this? And his Krishna saying here, and when you have thus learned the truth about Hindus, you will know that all Hindu living beings are but part of me, and that they are in me and are mine. That means everybody, right, on the planet. Every living being on the planet, whether it's Hindu, Muslim, Christian, no matter who the person is, any living being, everybody is part and parcel of Krishna.
Yes.
So when he's saying this statement, we have to analyze, either you challenge this statement, whole world. No, how can Krishna say that? If we are in Krishna, then what about other gods, what we are believing? What about other things we are believing? Then everything is wrong. How can Krishna say that? We should challenge Krishna, isn't it? We should take Krishna to court. Krishna will put the case on you. How can you say that? Right? Otherwise, we should accept.
True.
Either challenge, fight, defeat Krishna, or accept, because you cannot defeat Krishna. Nobody can defeat Krishna.
No one can.
He is saying this statement. So now let's go deeper. The result of receiving knowledge from a self-realized soul, or one who knows things as they are, is learning that all living beings are parts and parcel of Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna. The sense of separated existence from Krishna is called Maya. When we are separated from Krishna, that's called Maya. Maya means that which is not. Like when you see mirage in the desert, it looks like water, but it's not water. That is Maya. You're actually thinking something, but it's not true. You're thinking that you are living on the planet permanently. Can you live permanently?
No.
You're thinking you're never going to die. You will never die? This is all Maya's plan. Maya pushes us in illusion. Something that we are nothing to do with Krishna. So this is what Maya tells. Krishna nothing. That Krishna is only a great historical personality, and that the absolute is impersonal Brahman. So this is another Maya. We think of Krishna as some kind of light, some kind of energy. We don't think of him as Supreme Personality of Godhead with form just like us. That's also Maya. Actually, as it is stated in Bhagavad Gita, this impersonal Brahman is a personal effulgence of Krishna. So even the impersonal Brahman, the Brahmajyoti, is actually effulgence of Krishna only. It's like sun and sunlight, right? So unless there is sun, how can you have sunlight? So this effulgence is coming from Krishna only. But some people get stuck in sunlight only and they don't care about the sun. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the cause of everything. This much I think most of the audience who are listening to this interview will understand very well that Brahma is the Prajapita. He is the father of all living beings. Everything created by Brahma, including all Devi Devtas.
Yes.
All the Devi Devtas came from Brahma only. He is the father of everybody. Correct? In the Brahma Samhita is a book written by Lord Brahma himself. It is clearly stated that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the causes of all causes. This Brahma Samhita is spoken by Brahma, written by Vedavyas. Even the millions of incarnations are only his different expansions. Similarly, the living entities are also expansion of Krishna. So what is Brahma saying? That Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the causes of all the causes. And even the millions of incarnations are only his different expansions. So all the incarnations are actually his expansions only, Krishna's expansions. Similarly, living beings are also his extensions. There is a sloka, beautiful sloka in Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchita Nanda Vigraha Anadiradi Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. This is the Brahma Samhita sloka. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchita Nanda Vigraha Anadiradi Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. Krishna, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You are the causes of all the causes. Satchidanand, full of knowledge, eternal, blissful. This is Krishna. And who is telling this? Lord Brahma.
Brahma.
Should we doubt him?
No.
Yeah, we can doubt him. We are more clever than Brahma, right?
No, he's a creator actually. He has created everything.
Brahma has 4 heads, so he's confused. He does not know who is Supreme Personality of Godhead. We have 1 head, we know more than Brahma. Correct?
No.
And
we
we have our
cannot
own.
doubt him because he is a supreme power and we cannot doubt him. No.
Yeah, maybe that day Brahma was in a bad mood, then he wrote this sloka, right? Ishvara Parama Krishna. Sometimes I don't understand when such exalted people are telling about Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Why do we even have to doubt? Why do we even have to doubt? Why not we just accept and get the highest benefit? Are we losing anything? Krishna is telling, if you surrender to me, I'll relieve you from all your sinful reactions. Is that a great loss for you?
No. It's an opportunity actually. So
Isn't
that,
it?
yes.
Knowing this knowledge, coming close to this knowledge itself is a blessing of Lord. That he is trying to tell you the greatest formula where you can escape all your sinful reactions and get liberated.
Yes.
The Mayavadi philosophers wrongly think that Krishna loses his own separate existence in his many expansions. So some Mayavadi philosophers, they think when Krishna expands, he becomes less. Like if you have $1 million, let's say $100. If you have $100, if you give $50, then you have less, only $50. That's what they think. But how can you think of Krishna like that? He's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's the causes of all the causes. So if he gives something out, if he expand himself, he can still be full.
Yes.
This thought is material in nature. So this is a material thought. We have experience in the material world that a thing, when fragmentally distributed, loses its own original identity. That's correct. In material, we see that. If you have $100, you give something, then you lose that much.
Yes.
But the Mayavadi philosophers fail to understand that absolute means that 1 plus 1 is equal to 1. And that 1 minus 1 is also equal to 1. This is the case in the absolute world. So in material world, they're right. If I have 100 rupees, if I give you 50 rupees, then I have only 50 rupees. But in the absolute world, Krishna is not material, he's absolute. In the absolute world, 1 plus 1 is 1, 1 minus 1 is also 1. Hard to understand, but if you really think about Krishna, he expanded into so many forms. He's there in Goloka, at the same time he's maintaining everything. He's in everybody's heart. So Krishna is present, at the same time he's pervading everywhere. So how is it? That is called 1 plus 1 is 1, 1 minus 1 is 1. Correct?
Yes.
Absolute means he's there everywhere. He's full, at the same time he's pervading everywhere. This is a beautiful understanding about Krishna, about the absolute world. So we should not compare our world with the absolute world. For want of sufficient knowledge in the absolute science, we are now covered with illusion, and therefore we think that we are separate from Krishna. Although we are separate parts of Krishna, we are nevertheless not different from him. I'll give an example how to understand how we are with Krishna. So if you take a drop of ocean, the quality wise, the ocean and us are same, right? Liquid, watery, salty, whatever. So we are actually part of Krishna, like a drop of Krishna. But Krishna is ocean. Can you understand? This is how we should understand ourselves with Krishna. The bodily difference of the living entity is Maya, or not actual fact. We are all meant to satisfy Krishna. By Maya alone, Arjuna thought that the temporary body relationship with his kinsmen was more important than his eternal spiritual relationship with Krishna. The whole teachings of Gita is targeted towards this end, that a living being, as his eternal servitor, cannot be separated from Krishna. And his senses of being an identity apart from Krishna is called Maya. So anything we think we are not connected with Krishna, that is all Maya. I'll give an example. So one time what happened, both the hands decided like we want to go on strike. We are feeding our the mouth and the tummy. These guys don't do anything, eat and enjoy, and we are the one who have to work everything, put all the food in the mouth and all. So we are going on strike. 1 day, 2 day, 3 day. Then hands, came back to senses and they said, no, this is something going on, something negative going on. We should immediately cancel the, this strike. We should start resuming what we were doing. And then they realize that when hand is feeding mouth and the stomach is doing the processing, who's getting the benefit?
Whole body, hands, everything.
So hand gets the benefit too, right?
Yes.
The whole body gets benefit, hand also gets nourished.
Yes.
So the secret here is to understand hand is meant for serving the body, so that, and by serving the body, serving the mouth and the stomach,
it is getting the energy.
It's getting the energy also. It's actually getting benefited.
Yes.
Similarly, we are part and parcel of Lord Krishna. So when we do something for Krishna, when we serve Krishna, actually the benefit is coming back to us tremendously. We are the one who's getting benefited. When we offer prasadam, bhoga in front of Krishna, I told this a couple of times, does he finish the whole plate and give you empty plate?
No.
How many times that happened? How many temples in the world it happened that you made a lot of prasadam for Krishna, you offered everything and everything is finished. Everybody now go hungry.
Never.
No, right?
No.
You get back everything and it is called prasadam. A lot of people say, oh, prasadam is always delicious. It's so tasty. How come? Same yogurt rice you make at home, people might not like lemon rice, sometimes. So tasty. Khichdi, pongal, vada, laddu, so many amazing prasadams. So this is the secret. When you offer to Krishna, he gives back everything. Similarly, when we serve Krishna, we get 100% benefit. By chanting his name, we get the benefit. What difference does it make to Krishna when we plug one flower from his billions and trillions and zillions of flowers and take one flower and offer to Krishna? Do you think Krishna is becoming rich with your one flower? Does he really need your one flower?
No.
Who is that for? Our benefit.
Yes.
By giving that to Krishna, we are the one who are getting benefit. We should understand the secret. So by serving Krishna, actually we get the benefit. The living entity as a separate parts and parts of the Supreme have a purpose to fulfill. We all have a purpose to fulfill. Having forgotten that purpose, since time immemorial, they are situated in different bodies as men, animals, demigods, etc. Such bodily differences arise from forgetfulness of the transcendental service of the Lord. So because we are forgetting we are part and parcel of Krishna, our duty is to serve Krishna, and this way we can get benefit. We are actually missing out a lot. So we are here for a purpose to fulfill. That purpose is to understand our relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Once you understand the relationship and act upon it, your life is successful. 100% successful. Until and unless you understand that, you will be roaming around in this life in different species. Sometimes animals, sometimes men, sometimes demigods, God knows what. Is that a good life? Isn't it best to finish our job? Why we are here? I'll give an example. Suppose you lost your ring in Indian airport. You're searching all your life that ring in American airport. Will you find it?
No,
Why? Why you will not find it?
because I have lost it in Indian airport and I cannot try to search it in American airport, right? I will not get it there.
So the reason I gave this example is this is our position. Our joy, our benefit, our everything is connected with Lord Krishna. Right? That is our missing link. This is everything is connected. Our eternal bliss, eternal happiness, eternal knowledge, everything is linked with Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. But we are searching for all those things where?
In this material world.
Yes. We are searching in our job, we are searching in America, we are searching in India, we are searching in UK, we are searching in husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, money, car, jewelry, all these things we are searching that happiness, that eternal bliss. Can we find it?
No.
Why we cannot find it? The source is wrong.
Yes.
Right? You lost ring in India, so find it in India. So your main connection of this joy is Krishna. You have to find there only. You should explore in there. Then you'll find it. Wrong place you're searching, how will you find? But when one is engaged in the transcendental service through Krishna consciousness, one becomes at once liberated from this illusion. One can acquire such pure knowledge only from bona fide spiritual master and thereby avoid the delusion that the living entity is equal to Krishna. We should never think we are equal to Krishna or we are Krishna. That's very dangerous. If you think you are Krishna, why would Krishna entertain you? Krishna says, oh yeah, you take my seat, come. He'll entertain you?
No.
You're competing with Krishna, come on, don't be foolish. Perfect knowledge is that the Supreme Soul, Krishna, is a supreme shelter for all living entities. And giving up such shelter, the living entities are deluded by the material energy. How can we leave the supreme shelter and stay in delusion? We should go back, we should connect. Imagine themselves to have a separate identity. We think ourselves we have a separate identity, but no, we don't have. We are part of Krishna. Krishna himself is saying, so how can we separate? We cannot be separate. A drop of ocean, there are billions, trillions, zillions of drops which makes an ocean. Can you say we are separate? All these drops are separate from the ocean?
No.
Part of the ocean. Of course, there is an individuality. It's like the example Prabhupada gives. If there are 1,000 birds sitting in a green tree and green birds, it will look like a green tree with green birds. But all the birds will have their some individuality also, but they are part of Lord Krishna. We have our soul and supreme soul. So in one way, we have our individuality, but in another way, we are actually all in Krishna only. Because where is the tree? It's part of the creation. So it's inside the creation only, right?
Yes.
So Krishna is saying everything is within me. Within him, we could have an identity. You got it? Thus, under different standards of material identity, they become forgetful of Krishna. When, however, such deluded living entities become situated in Krishna consciousness, it is to be understood that they are on the path of liberation. As confirmed in Bhagavatam, Muktir Hitvan Yatha Rupam Sarupena Vyavastithi. Liberation means to be situated in one's constitutional position as the eternal servitor of Krishna, Krishna consciousness. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, text 35. This is all the information what we just read. You can go to vedabase.com, chapter 4, text 35. You can find all this information. And who is speaking this knowledge? Who is giving this knowledge to us? Krishna himself.
Yes.
From Bhagavad Gita. So we have two choices. One, to doubt, which we have habit of doubting everybody, right? We doubt ourselves, we doubt our wife, we doubt our whole world, we doubt everybody. That's our nature, to keep doubting. The second, and Krishna says, for a doubting person, there is no happiness in this world and three world also. If you are always doubting, so how can you be happy?
He'll be busy in doubts himself. He won't be able to enjoy the...
You get stuck right there only.
Exactly.
Like if you're standing on a road, there are two roads going. One is going east, one is going west, and you are in the middle of the road. You're doubting this road. He will
be there only. He won't be able to move forward.
Even sometimes he goes forward a little bit, and this is no, this is not right. He'll come back.
That's the way.
Confused, doubted souls. So we don't want to be in that situation. My humble request to you all: please understand. This is the information given by Lord Krishna himself. All I did today is share the information what Krishna wanted to share with you. And You are a fortunate person if you are watching this interview today. You are a very fortunate person because you got the message directly from Krishna. Isn't it?
Yes.
All you have to do is turn to Bhagavad Gita, read chapter 9, you will understand Bhagavad Gita. That's my favorite chapter. You understand Krishna. Once you understand Krishna, your life is set. Your life is completely successful. You don't have to do anything else. After that, even if you don't want to do something, you cannot, because you will feel like chanting, you will feel like connecting with Krishna, because now you know the highest truth, which you are hankering for millions of lifetimes. And once you know this truth and practice, not only you get benefit, but your entire family, 14 generations, 7 generations before you, 7 generations after you, all of them will get benefit. So my humble request is, please turn to Bhagavad Gita, chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and feel the magic. Make your life successful. And I'll tell you my personal experience. I did not know about Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I was worshipping Sai Baba, I was worshipping Durga Mata, I was worshipping so many Devi Devtas. I used to go to church and mosque. I didn't know Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. By Krishna's mercy, I met somebody who introduced me to Bhagavad Gita. He answered all my questions. And then I started studying, asking more questions, going to temples, going to ISKCON, temples, and asked different questions, attended many classes, heard many lectures of Srila Prabhupada. Then I understood, oh yes, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God. And not only Srila Prabhupada is telling, or my Guru Maharaj is telling, or some other devotees are telling, Brahma is telling, Narada is telling, Vyasadeva is telling, Lord Ganesha is telling. He is the one who wrote the Bhagavatam. Recently we had Ganesh Chaturthi, right? I'm sure everybody is going to love this Leela. What happened a few days back. I was invited to my friend Sami Bhai's program, Ganesh Chaturthi program in his house. After hearing some of the interviews, he started chanting Hare Krishna on the electronic beats. There's a clicker. So he was chanting on the clicker. So he invited me to his house. So I went to his house to take darshan of Lord Ganesha, and I took some mala beads for him as gift so that he can start chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So in front of Lord Ganesha, I was giving him these beads, mala, and I was explaining him how to chant on the beads. There is a procedure how to chant. So I was saying Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Hare. Like that I was chanting. So while chanting, I chanted 3 times, and I was in different ecstasy, chanting in front of Lord Ganesha and explaining them. And I went into some, deep meditation. And I was thinking while chanting that even Lord Ganesha is dancing and he's very happy because he's the greatest devotee of Lord Narasimhadev, who is Krishna. So I thought Ganeshji also, on this auspicious day of Ganesh Vinayak Chaturthi, I'm chanting Krishna's name in front of Ganeshji. So he will be dancing and everybody in the altar will be dancing is what I'm thinking, including Lord Shiva. I said that the minute I finished this chanting, I told this to him, tuck, there is sound came, something fall. And I said, see, Lord Ganesha also confirmed. I said, by the sound, I said that he also confirmed. And that the Sunita ji, his wife, she checked, there was a brown color laddu, modak, in Ganeshji's hand. That fell instantly. And they told me, they had goosebumps, they were like surprised, and they were saying, this is a miracle. Sanjay Bhai, how did this happen? Like you just finished and the laddu fell, and this never happened in so many years we've been doing Ganesh Chaturthi. We never experienced this. And after this episode, they put another laddu, and the laddu was there till the Visarjan. Usually, Lord Ganesha hand is like this, flat. It is made to put laddu. It's not made to put like this. Lakshmi hand is like this, Mother Lakshmi.
Holding, yes.
Or holding. And this is a heavy laddu, brown laddu. So they kept it there. And big Ganesha, not small Ganesha. It has almost 1.5 to 2 feet Ganesha. So then 2 things I realized that time. One thing I realized is that yes, Lord Ganesha was very happy. He reciprocated instantly. That means he manifested there, correct? He manifested
Yes.
in their house and reciprocated. So one is Ganesh, Lord Ganesha is very happy. Second, Lord Krishna's holy name is so powerful, it really works. Isn't it? Instant Leela. So this is the power. So Bhakta Lord Ganesh ki jai. Hare Krishna, thank you so much. Really appreciate.
Okay, Vyas, we'll be back with another interesting topic in spiritual awakening. This is Bhargavi signing off. You're watching Telugu Pradhalamana Sakshi TV. Namaste.